Hello, everybody. Welcome to Storytime. This week on Storytime, we're going to tell a real story where one person starts it and then the rest of us finish it. Tonight's story is going to be started by Jake.
In 1962, two penguins named Marge and George were trying to settle down and start their life.
Now, they realized that it was 1984 and they were way off on the time. And they just realized, you know what? We can get married any which way we want to get married. So they went down to the local bar mitzvah shop and
They found a time traveler who said, "This isn't the real 1984. This is the 1984 they made you believe was the 1984 that's not really the 1984 that it's supposed to be." And the penguins were like, "Well, what do you mean?" And the man was like, "Didn't you read the fucking book? This isn't even your reality." And the penguins were like, I'm totally confused and scared now." So the man was like, Well, just read this book." So they started to read the book.
They were reading the book, but they decided to visit family to help comprehend the book because they were having trouble understanding what the man was trying to talk to them. So Marge's aunt, Lori, and George's uncle, Mark, actually hooked up. So they're like, it's weird. It's a weird dynamic between them. Like, they're related twice, but not by blood. Only once by blood.
since he had such a hard time communicating this with Marge, the other one got a Rosetta Stone and said, "Hey, you know what? Maybe that's how I should probably translate everything that I was worried about communicating to my new partner in crime."
So they walked into this blue covered house with a blue little window and everything was blue. And they looked at the blue little couch and they sat down, and it was right below a furnace that was also blue with a blue fire, and then she proceeded to blue him.
And as she was bluing him, they came up with a great idea from the book they were reading from the man that they told them to read about, with the help from their aunt and uncle to help them comprehend it, and realized we should start a band and cover ourselves in all blue paint.
Thus, the Blue Man Group was formed, and they started performing all along the countryside to all the little wee penguinis and little men. Specifically, only male penguins were in the audience. It was like a boy band, but for girls, but mainly little boys.
And then they were instantly transported to 1984, like the
Again.
book. Yeah, for real this time. And then they saw the 100-foot things, and they were like, "Oh, fuck this shit. I don't want to be advertised that much. I'm gonna go back." And they couldn't, so they went into this weird room that was a big screen, and it was like VR, but it wasn't VR because they didn't know how to think about VR at that time. So they just ended up in this weird alternate reality future that doesn't actually exist.
And they were stunned. They didn't know what to do. They've heard of the movie from the future called Back to the Future, but they weren't sure if it was a real thing. It was just a thought in their minds. So they wrote a song, and it goes a little bit something like this.
Do you pepper your eggs in the morning? Do you pepper your eggs at night?
Do you pepper your eggs
With your left hand.
Do you pepper your eggs
With your right.
Thank you.
So I forgot about that. The Blue Man Group were actually penguins.